All right. This is the second part of 7-6. Tonight you are also doing page 331, 1 through 32 even. You're just doing the evens from last night, page 331. Okay, but tonight when you are doing it, we are focusing on how to use y equals mx plus b. You have to put point slope out of your mind. We are just using y equals mx plus b. So, every time we are working, every time we sit down to do a problem like this, we have to ask ourselves, what are they giving us? Okay, so we have to put the point slope out of our head, and tonight we're going to use slope-intercept form of the equation. So, what do they give us? What is given? What do they want? And how do they want it? That's a piece of information that a lot of people forget. How do they want it? So you've got to read those directions. So what's being given here? What's given? Yeah. The slope and the y-intercept. So we're going to use our formula y equals mx plus b. We know our slope is 3 and our y-intercept is -2. We're going to start by writing the formula. And we're going to substitute. Okay, so what's it going to look like when I substitute in? Yes?
Y equals 3x minus 2.
Perfect, y equals 3x minus 2. Now, I noticed what was given, I used it, I wrote the linear equation, now I have to see how they want us to do it in standard form. What does that mean, standard form? Charlie?
Means that y is alone and you get
Y is not alone with standard form. That's slope-intercept form. This is slope-intercept form that it's in right now. So what would standard form be, Rebecca?
when the y is actually with the problem and then maybe -2 or the y-intercept is on the other side, so you have to switch them.
Okay, can somebody clarify that? She is right, but
It's when y and x are on the same side.
y and x on the same side. So here we are going to do what to get y and x on the same side?
We're going to subtract 3x on both sides.
Exactly. Okay. And now I have -3x plus y equals -2. Now to be in standard form, you notice there's this comment here. It's x and y are on the same side, where a and b and c are all integers. What does that mean to be an integer? Charlie?
Any positive or negative whole number on the number line?
Any positive or negative whole number. Okay? So what we can't have in standard form are fractions. Is this in standard form? Yeah. Now, you've got these people in the world, and they like things neat and clean. And we usually put it in order of the alphabet. So notice x comes before y, so we always put the x term first, right, in alpha order. Now, one of my kids in the last period says, I hate that negative at the end. Yeah, I don't like it either. It's messy, it doesn't look right, it's ugly. So if I want to get rid of that negative, and a lot of people like to just get rid of that lead negative, we can do one of two things. I can multiply everything by a -1, or I can divide everything by a -1. So if I divide by -1, if I divide by -1, all terms, -3 divided by -1 is what? 3x. Positive 1 divided by -1 is what? Negative y. And -2 divided by -1 is 2. So both of those solutions are correct. Yes, Evan?
Could you just add 2 on both sides and then subtract y on both sides?
What do you mean by add 2 on both?
Like when it's y equals 3x plus -2 or -2, can you just add 2 on both sides and get 2 plus y equals 3x and then just subtract y on both sides?
But why not just move the x over? Why not move the x over? Because it sounds like you're doing 3 and 4 steps to get rid of, as opposed to, this is a perfectly good answer. You don't have to be, you can start it, but I have kids that don't want to. I mean, you could start it with a negative. I have people, I know people that don't like to start. It's not mandatory. It's still in standard form. Both of these are in standard form. But do you understand they're both equivalent? All I'm really doing is taking the opposite of that is 3x. The opposite of that is minus y. The opposite of that is positive 2. So what are we doing mathematically? We're multiplying or dividing by a negative. So when I'm solving for something, I generally, if I'm solving I want to get x and y on the same side, I'm not going to move something and then move the other. All right, so you guys pause the recording and I want you to try it now. Only you're going to have one more step here, because what will this also have that the other one did not? Yes. A fraction. You're going to have to clear the fraction. So try and do this one now. Put the recording on pause. All right, so I'm starting with, what is my m, what is my b, please? Let's go, Kiana. M is 1/4. M is 1/4. Okay, what is my m, what is my b, Kiana?
Your m is 1/4 and your b is -2.
Good. So what am I going to substitute in? Keep going, Kiana.
Oh, it's y equals 1/4 x minus 2.
Perfect. Okay, now what am I doing to put it into standard form? Someone I haven't heard from. Okay, how about Omar?
You subtract 1/4 x on both sides.
Correct. We're going to subtract 1/4 x on both sides. And I put it in alpha order. Now, how do I get rid of is it in standard form right now? So what do I need to do, Francis?
Times everything by 4.
Multiply everything by 4 or?
-4.
So either one. So multiply everything by 4. And when I distribute here, whoops, let's go here. When I distribute here, the 4 will cross cancel, and I'm left with -4x. You with me, Elizabeth? When I distribute the 4 here, what am I left with? Plus 4y. Sign is important. When I distribute the 4 here, minus 8. Oh yeah, the first one I should have cross canceled, sorry. -x. Okay, now otherwise it could also be or x minus 4y equals 8. So one of those two. Yes.
So I have 2 questions. Number 1, can you clear the fractions before you subtract?
100%.
And then my second question is, can't you simplify that by dividing 4 on both sides, and then you get -x plus y equals -2? Because it's not in simple,
Where?
like you divide by the y by -4, so that you could get -x plus y equals -2.
No. No, because you got to divide x by 4 too. If you're going to divide y by 4, you got to divide all 3 terms by 4.
That's what I thought.
Okay. All right. Yes.
For the homework,
Okay. Hold on homework for a few minutes. Yes.
So could we multiply by 4 when it's y equals 1/4?
Yes, I just answered that question.
Okay.
Okay, so I need you guys to hear each other's questions. You can clear before you move the x. All right, now what's different about this problem compared to this problem? This problem, this problem. Elizabeth. There's an ordered pair for the point instead of a y-intercept. So that's okay, we can do this. We need a point and a slope. So if I'm using my y equals mx plus b, I'm going to substitute in. What is the y? Jack?
4.
4. Here's my x and here's my y, right? That's 4 equals, keep going, Jack.
4 equals
What's my m?
negative 1/5 x plus b. Oh,
2 times 2 plus b. And now we're going to solve for b. So is this 4, isn't this the same thing as 4 equals negative 2/5 plus b? Get the b alone, add 2/5, add 2/5, and now we have 4 and 2/5 is equal to the b. If I convert that to an improper, what does it become?
22.
22 over 5 equals b. Now, I've got my b, I have my slope, so I now need to put it into standard form. I can't go directly to standard form, I've got to go to the y equals mx plus b. Now I'm using what, Jack?
Now you're using standard form.
Well, but I can't use standard form, I have to go from slope intercept.
Now you
I've got my m, I've got my b, what can I do with that?
put in the
We're going to substitute in. And so what is my m?
negative 1/5.
X plus what?
22 over 5.
Good. Are you guys with me? Yes or no? Yes, thumbs up. No, thumbs down. Charlie, you with me?
Yeah.
Isaiah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you guys want to clear now or later?
Now.
Now.
Okay. So we're going to clear it because they want it in standard form. So I'm going to multiply by 5. I get 5y equals, when I distribute, I get minus x plus, all right. Let's check our work. Okay, so now we're going to substitute the 1/5 in. Notice we have a 2 and a 4. Let's substitute the 2 in for the x, the 4 in for the y. I'm not sure how long it was paused, so I might be redundant. Once I do this, I'm going to switch, get the b alone. I get 4 and 2/5, which is the same thing as 22 over 5. Now when I go to y equals mx plus b, I have my b, I have my m, and now I personally like to clear now, but we can get x to the other side, then multiply everything by 5, and now we have a finished problem in standard form. Now, what happens, let's look at this next one, not this problem. Oh, this is very tricky in this problem. In this problem, they're being very sneaky, because now what's given? And an x-intercept, I said you need a point and the slope, or you need 2 points with the ability to find the slope, but you're given an x-intercept. So really they are implying what? What is that implying?
No solution?
No? Yeah?
It means that the graph is going to be negative.
What is the x-intercept? Yes?
The x-intercept is in the 3/5, and if it's x,
No, you're forgetting. What is the x-intercept? Jack, tell me about the x-intercept.
I'm not sure.
Okay, Asha, where are you? Oh, she left. Okay, the x-intercept is a point. So they really gave you a point, but they're not telling you they gave you a point. Do you see how sneaky they get? That is 4, 0. So it is an implied point. They don't tell you because they want to see if you're making sense of it. So now I know my m is 3/5. I have a point. We go to y equals mx plus b. I'm substituting in y equals 3/5. I'm sorry, I'm going to substitute the y with what, guys?
0.
0, and the x with 4 plus b, and then I solve for b. I need 3 out of the 4, right? So I get 0 equals 12 over 5 plus b. Subtract 12 over 5, subtract 12 over 5, and negative 12, oops, I didn't mean to cross that out. This is supposed to be crossed out. Negative 12 over 5 is equal to b. Now, what do I do with that? Charlie?
You go back to the or y equals mx plus b, and you substitute y equals the slope, which is
The y is what?
the y is 0.
0 equals
3/5.
12 fifths.
Or 12, yeah. Wait,
And the
no,
x
this
is,
is the slope. 12/5 is the
oh yeah, you're right, sorry.
y-intercept.
You're right, I'm wrong. Y equals,
3/5.
okay, you know what? We don't even need to put the point anymore.
Yeah.
What am I doing? I have my slope.
You have your slope.
I got mixed up. And I have my y-intercept. So I'm doing y equals,
3/5 x plus or minus 12.
minus 12 fifths. Now, how do they want it? Do they want it in slope-intercept or in standard form? Everybody. So subtract the 3/5 x minus 3/5 x. I get 3/5 x, negative 3/5 x plus y equals negative 12 fifths. I want to get rid of the fraction, so I'm going to multiply everything by negative 5. Cancel, cancel. I'm going to cancel and cancel. So I end up with 3x. Negative 5 when I distribute here is minus 5y equals negative 5 here. Negative, negative becomes a positive, equals 12. What if you could have also had negative 3x plus 5y equals negative 12. Either of those would have been okay. Yes?
To check your answer, like to make sure it's correct, is a way you can do that is replace x with 4 and replace y with
Yes,
0.
exactly, and it should be equivalent. Yes, quick.
What happens when it's 2 points?
We're going there right now. So now, the question is, what happens when given 2 points? Now let's look at this. This is very interesting. Look at my directions. Finding an equation given 2 points. They're not very specific, are they? So when they're not specific and they don't tell you how, the default method is y alone, not standard form. Standard form is more work to get it to. The default method is get y alone in slope-intercept form. So if the directions don't tell you, you always leave it in slope-intercept form. Got it? So write an equation. So Blake, you want to help me with this? Mm-hmm. What would I do
So
first?
you could do the m equals y2 minus y1 over x over x2 minus x1.
So we don't have a slope, but we have the ability to find the slope because we've been given 2 points. So there's a lot of implied directions here that nobody talks about and we expect you to know. So we don't have the slope, but we have the ability to find it. So what am I substituting in?
5 minus 3 over 4 minus 2.
Perfect. Okay? And that reduces to
1/4. Oh, no,
1/3.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, now I have the choice. Do I want to use which point? And I'm going to use my slope. Which point do you want to use, Rebecca?
4/5.
Okay, let's use 4/5. Not 4/5, it's 4,5. Good. So I'm using my 1/3. We always want it reduced. And it's going to read 5 equals 1/3 times 4. And I'm just going to solve for b. I'm going to subtract 4/3. Now we're having that same fraction issue. Now, when I'm subtracting 4/3 over here, I've got to change that 5 to have a denominator of 3. So what needs to go up top to make it equal a positive 5? 15. So it's positive 15, negative 4 is what? 11 over 3. So this is what I hate about using y equals mx plus b. Kids, stop here. I found my b. I have my m. I need to write the equation of a line, and the equation of a line has an m and a b. Y equals 1/3 x plus 11/3. Is everybody clear on that? Yes. This is your answer. Whoops. So this is why I hate this, because kids will stop at that b equals.
For those teachers.
Okay, so tonight you're solving with y equals mx plus b. I don't want to see any point slope tonight. You're learning a new method. You're writing the formula, just like you wrote it last night, all those different times. Got it? Miss Sophia has tutoring today.
Miss Yawasaki.